Hi guys, thanks so much for watching The Social Life, the place to be for entrepreneurs with a purpose. Today I'm going to be talking to you about how to get a fiscal sponsorship. I've had a few questions about that, and so today I'm going to be answering a lot of things about a fiscal sponsorship, how to obtain one, where you should look to find one, and whether you even should have one or not. So I'll have my phone with me. You'll see me looking down a few times just so I can make sure I have the names and questions correct. But I'm excited about this video. I think this is something that will be really helpful to many of you in the exploratory, starting, and building phase on your social entrepreneurship journey. So if you are someone who is in the exploratory phase and you're just kind of considering what to do and you're not exactly sure like which way to go, and if you really want to do the 501c3 and you have a project in mind, a fiscal sponsorship is fantastic for you. If you're in the starting phase and you are starting the 501c3 process, but you want to actually get your mission underway and start accomplishing that mission and working towards the goal of providing whatever services you have, fiscal sponsorship would also be a great move for you as well. And then if you're in the building phase, sometimes you've already started a nonprofit and you have actually already been building your venture for a while, then you also are a good candidate for a fiscal sponsorship. I will start explaining some of what a fiscal sponsorship is and all of that, but I did want to get all of that out for you first, so it doesn't matter what phase you're in. This is always a good option for you if you do not have your 501c3 just yet. The first question is from Fit Nation 2 Dance Company. And basically they've had a nonprofit. They actually have 3 nonprofits, and they've had it for 5 years. They didn't know that they could do the 501c3 process, and now they may be on their way to doing that. This is a great example of someone who is already in the building phase that has not done the 501c3 process, but would be a fantastic candidate for going through the process of getting a fiscal sponsor while they're waiting for their 501c3 status. So I will answer that in a second. So in Angie's question, she's saying that she recently heard back from a fiscal sponsor and they asked her to forward some of the materials from her program. But they weren't specific on what materials to give, and basically she'd like to know if we can help. So I'm gonna try to squeeze it all into one, but here's the deal. So Angie, you started a fiscal sponsorship packet basically where you went to someone and you said, hey, would you be my fiscal umbrella so that I can receive donations and basically run my nonprofit under your umbrella, your fiscal umbrella, meaning that when the money comes in, the check will be written into whoever this fiscal sponsor is. It will be written in their name, and then they will pass on the funds to you. And that bypasses the 501c3 so that you can still receive donations under the umbrella of another 501c3. This is fantastic because this is really the holdup in a lot of people for their social entrepreneurship journeys, because when you accept money from people, they want to know that funding is tax deductible and that there are some policies and some legal ramifications in place if you don't do the right things with those funds. So having a fiscal sponsor is a great idea because it just gives you the opportunity to bring in money and gives the donor peace of mind that there are legal ramifications if you were to misuse that money, which is huge, right? We all want to know that our money is going where we say that money is going. In your case, Angie, some of the materials that you'll need to give back are basically what are the mission and vision of your program. They will need to know that. How would it align with their program? How are you helping their program, if at all? And if you're not helping their program, how are you a great ancillary program to what they already do? This is a good, important piece of the fiscal sponsorship packet because they need to be able to see how much money you've already brought in on your own, how you plan to market your program, some of the stipulations you might have as being a fiscal agent under their program. So are you planning to co-market with them? Are you planning to co-fundraise? Would you like to keep all of those things individual to your nonprofit? So the work that you do on your nonprofit has nothing to do with their nonprofit or their 501c3. It's just basically running the money through. Now, when I had my fiscal sponsor, that's how we set it up. basically we were two separate entities, but I was a project underneath them. So if someone was part of that fiscal sponsor, my fiscal sponsor, if they were part of their program and they asked, well, hey, what does Launchpad have to do with what you're doing? They were able to explain that I was a project under the health aspect, health and youth community engagement aspect of their program. But since I was a separate program and a separate project, which I liked the term of a project because it meant that the project could end, which would give me the ability to go out on my own, and I could also advertise on my own for my program using my name, my materials, my branding, all of that, which is very important. So Angie, you'll need to figure out if you plan to co-market with them, like I said, co-fundraise and things like that. And if you don't plan to do that, then you would ask to be called a project under one of their umbrellas, wherever it makes the most sense in their programs. And it's always best to be forthright, to say, hey, I want to do this for the next year while I plan to get my 501c3, or the next 2 years. Like, there should be a cutoff date. You should be able to say that in the paperwork and materials that you'll give. So when they say materials from your program, those are the types of things they're looking for. They want to know your mission, your vision. They want to know basically what is your business plan for your nonprofit, and why do you need their help at this time, and why are you choosing them? So when you're writing this up, it basically will be a proposal. You could even think of it as a grant proposal, and you could probably look up how to write a grant proposal and change that to your fiscal sponsor agent. So I hope that explains that question, Angie, on what you'll actually need, what types of materials you need to send in to your fiscal sponsor. They really just are trying to make an agreement with you so that they can agree to terms and you can also agree to terms, and the terms are very clear. So more like setting up a contract. Here's my mission, here's my vision, here's what I see as us working together as partners or as separate entities under your 501c3 umbrella. And then here's what you plan to do in the future so that you can go on and become your own nonprofit. Those are the important aspects of what you might want to write in those materials that you're going to send back to them. And then any sort of marketing materials that you have for your program, any sort of specific wording that you use, the demographic that you're reaching out to, things like that are the things that are important to a fiscal agent, because they're trying to see where the comparisons are and if you're a good fit for their program, if they were to be your fiscal agent for the next few years. So they'll also probably want to see some of your accounting for the last however long you've been taking in funds. These are also questions that you'll want to ask them. You'll want to be asking them these same questions, like, how do you see me fitting into your program? Is this something that I can do as a separate entity, or do we need to partner and fundraise together? These are all questions. It's a back and forth. This is a partnership that you're basically creating, and you need to be as upfront as possible in order for the partnership to work, and for everyone to be clear on what the agreement is. Now, moving on to Fit Nation, and if you are a program that has already completing your mission, you're very clear on what your mission and your vision are, and you've been doing your program for quite some time, it might be difficult to give up some of that control in order to have a fiscal agent. Because when you do have a fiscal agent, you do have to report to someone. Your board will now also have to agree that you guys sign up to be this fiscal, be a project under this fiscal agent. And you just have a lot more people who need to agree on your partnership. And all of the things that I just mentioned will be the same. So you just have to find someone that would be willing to take the funds under them so that you can then relate to your donors that you may already have, that now the funds that they are giving you are tax deductible. Lastly, getting a fiscal donor is a great way to show the public and people that you're asking to support you that you are a bona fide nonprofit, that you have responsibilities to someone other than yourself and your board. People will want to know who's looking over you for the financials, like where does that financial oversight come from? And this is a great way to say that it comes from your fiscal agent. Now, I don't want to leave you with all this information and not give you a place to start searching for fiscal sponsorships. This is not how I found my fiscal sponsor, but I think this is a great place to start. And it's called fiscalsponsordirectory.org. And basically, people who are willing to be fiscal sponsors go onto this website and they put up a profile, and then people like yourself who are starting projects or looking to start a nonprofit but need a fiscal agent can go there and search that directory and then contact them to see if they can be your fiscal sponsor. And they also had a lot of really good information on that site, so that you can find out a little bit more if there's any information that I left out of this video. So thank you guys so much for watching. I truly hope that helped you. And please leave your questions down below. I love getting your questions because this is how I figure out my next videos and what I'm going to talk about, and figuring out what you actually want to know and need to know. It's a lot easier for me than trying to come up with it off the top of my head. So I really appreciate your questions. I love them. And don't forget to sign up for the Social Life. That's where I basically talk to you one-on-one, and you can also email me from that email. And then also we have the Facebook group, the Social Life. I'll see you next week. Thanks so much for watching.